Howdy out there, David Duford here. Thanks for watching. In today's video, I am going to give you an overview on what I anticipate will happen over the next 6 to 12 months related to this coronavirus/recession risk that we're currently going through as of March 15th, 2020, and what the implications are for you out there who either are currently building an agency or possibly want to. What you will discover by the end of this video is that now is the time. It is going to be one of the best times, in fact, despite all the stuff that's going on, to build an agency and to prepare to build an agency and recruit otherwise people who would never actually look into the insurance environment. So let's start with that first. Why is it a good thing to consider selling insurance despite the fact that we're in a quote-unquote bad time? Well, I think a good way to start is to start off with my story. If you guys have watched enough of my videos, you might recall that I didn't, grow up wanting to be an insurance agent. I mean, who does, right? I was a personal trainer. I graduated from Boston University, hated the idea of working for corporate America, and loved personal training. It was something I did in college. I really enjoyed it, had a personal weight loss story myself, and had a great opportunity to open a gym, and I had run it from about 2006, 2007, up until about 2011. Prior to that, of course, a couple years prior, the Great Recession was in full steam ahead. And what I mean by that is that people weren't buying homes, they weren't buying stuff that they didn't need, and it eventually extended into my personal training business, where by 2010, I noticed a third of my clients did not re-up, and that all the new ones I was picking up just simply weren't spending the same amount. They wouldn't stay on as long, they weren't buying as many weekly sessions, so I was getting less clientele and making less profit per client. So I kind of saw the writing on the wall. My business slowly started to deteriorate, and I got frustrated. I accepted the fact that this wasn't going to work. I didn't have the money to finance my way through it. So I got, like a lot of people will, and this is coming full circle here in a second, where I started looking for jobs. I started looking for regular employment, and of course my thoughts were, I'm good, man. I'm a person of really good talent. I built a business, I did sales, I did financial planning, I'm an entrepreneur. Wouldn't employers want to hire? And of course they didn't. Very few people were hiring, and it was a very competitive landscape for the best jobs. So I got frustrated and ended up deciding, because out of pure desperation, to start looking into the insurance business, which brings me to my point. The only way that I got into this business was because of what was going on economically. In a sense, I'm thankful that my business failed, because I just didn't realize anything about the insurance business. Like you probably have, if you've never done this business, you probably have had this perception that it's an old, stodgy business, it's boring, there's no sex appeal, it's just, it's not exciting, but it's quite the opposite. And what I've discovered recruiting agents is that many people arrive to the insurance business out of just happenstance. They don't actually desire to be in this. And so what happens is that they just end up here because they really don't have much else in the way of choices. So again, this is the nature of a bad economy, okay? So right now we're in the midst of this coronavirus thing. My agents are still making sales because they're working in senior markets. We've had our best week in a long time. It continues to get better and better. And we haven't seen much resistance in the way to booking appointments. That all could change tomorrow. I'm not going to say that it's not going to happen. It's all a fluid situation, as I've said over several videos now. But the thing is that now is the time to really get started, because what coronavirus is going to do is, in my estimation, again, I don't know what tomorrow brings, but it's likely to cause a recession. You can see that right now in the gyrations of the stock market. Huge days up, huge days down. Typically that means there's a ton of uncertainty. And obviously if you discuss coronavirus with friends or family, people have dramatic opinions but there's a sense of fear in the air. And already we're seeing reports of small businesses closing, that service groups, that of course the travel industry, the lodging business, all of these are being dramatically affected, and we're only a couple of weeks into this thing. So where I'm going with all of this is this appears and has the feel of a dramatic recession. And the outcome is not only directly those people involved in the industries I talked about, but ancillary industries like the car business is going to see a dramatic drop in new sales, the real estate business. And for the smart agency builder, you are in a wonderful position to show people an opportunity that otherwise would not exist. Okay, so and that's the nature again of insurance, is that people aren't standing around looking for these jobs. There's a couple other things too, I guess, are good. I've probably seen the surveys. Most people hate their jobs anyway. They just go to work, they make enough to do well, but even though they hate their job, and this kind of in a bad position type of thing. A lot of people are like that with what they're currently doing. And yeah, they maybe have entertained the idea of selling insurance or starting their own business, but they fear it because they've got the golden handcuffs. They're making good income, got good wages, got good benefits. But once that's gone for these affected sectors and these employees are now unemployed, you now have a life event, right? You have a situation where people start to consider circumstances they otherwise wouldn't. Again, as I like to say about my getting into the insurance business, it was a desperate time that caused a desperate measure. It's what many of us, and you probably are shaking your head too if you've been doing this for a while. So how do you actually prepare to recruit if you're not doing this already? So a couple of ideas I wanted to share with you. I'm first of all big on utilizing social media to influence those people in your circle of influence. Now you got to be cautious in how you do this. You don't want to come off like a jerk, right? And constantly be pushing what you're doing and your Rolex and your Ferrari and all that stuff. I think going into a recession, you got to be sensitive in how you display materialism. That was a big deal. I don't know if you guys remember back in 2008, 9, 10. It was kind of taboo to talk, big money like that. Instead, and I think from a substance standpoint, it's not the best way to find the best talent. What you need to be doing over the course of the next 6 to 12 months is every once in a while, on a frequent basis, talk about the kind of work that you're doing, the kind of people you're helping. Talk about the dynamics of the market that you're working in. Of course, many of you all out there who are watching are either in the senior market or thinking about getting involved in the senior market. And what your friends, family, and connections will see when you're posting about this in educational, possibly entertaining, informative manner is that they're going to realize and start to convince themselves that, hey, there's something out there I didn't realize was there. And this guy, my friend, doesn't seem to be nearly as suffering as I've been or the people that I've seen. And eventually that grows on someone over time. And if they come to the point where they get laid off or fired, guess what? They've seen your posts, they've seen your interactions long enough to know, hey, maybe this guy, I should talk to him because there may be an opportunity I'm not seeing. So I think that's really an important play. If you're more of the type that's inclined to do paid advertisements, I heard a really good idea from a fellow friend, agent of mine, and that is to post up ads, say on LinkedIn, even Facebook, and target those people who are employed in the sectors that are going to be hit. Not just 6, 12 months from now, but right now. Again, everybody who is selling something that's discretionary is extremely worried. If I'm in the timeshare business right now, if I'm selling luxury vehicles, I'm worried, okay? People don't have to take timeshares. They can just, go on vacation for a couple of weeks and just rent like normal. And people don't have to buy luxury vehicles. They can wait a couple of more years till there's certainty. So these are just two examples of where we're going to see a major reversal and new sales. And for this, thus, there's going to be people leaving those businesses, especially on the sales side. And if you're smart and you know how to target those people using social media paid ads, you can build them into your funnel of recruiting. There are already people who are doing this. If you have experience in a particular sector, especially if, like, let's say you come from the car business, this would be genius. Put together some ads, talk about the risk of sticking in the business and how you're going to lose money and how there's a new and a different way to do it, to make money, to make sales. You're going to get a lot of people who are interested, especially right now. And I say start it now as opposed to wait 6 to 12 months, because you can begin to influence these people if you know your stuff. Get these people on an email list, get these people on some sort of social media, and allow time to influence people to your side of the equation, to how you think and how you operate. In other words, it's essentially what I do with my YouTube channel. I put out content on a continuous basis and have for years, and I can tell you the game changer in doing that, when you put out a consistent, steady amount of content, is that people eventually don't look at you like you're a recruiter. They look at you like a friend. They look at you as a trusted resource. And when they reach out to you, the outcome is there's a lot more opportunity to convert those people slightly interested into people to do business with you on an agency agent level. So so that's my advice. I think you guys, if you're at the point in your career where you know what you're doing, especially if you're in a senior market, you sell final expense, Medicare, annuities, I would be giving serious thought to starting as quickly as possible to build out some sort of ongoing social media campaign to influence the people in your direct circle of influence on what you do and why it's great, and what your concerns are and what your interaction is. And what you'll find is, again, long term, you'll convert some of your best recruits from that, because that is one of the most surefire ways to recruit, is just work your existing group and work your existing network. And if you've got the ability to do any kind of ad spend, then certainly do it and start impacting. If you can't do that, then contribute to groups. Go on to forums and Facebook groups that match these places who are in flux. Become an authority. Talk about what you do. Again, don't be spammy. Don't go out there and annoy the crap out of people. Be someone who's providing education. You want to have almost like, your goal is not to close people. Your goal is to brand yourself. And branding takes time. It takes effort. And it's a process of time. It takes time to marinate, if you will, in a lot of people's mind. But this is my recommendation to you, is get out there and start doing this stuff. Because 6 to 12 months now, when companies start to do massive layoffs, if things continue to get worse, you're going to be in a position that is completely different than everybody who just recognized, oh, now everybody's quit. Now I'm going to jump in. Now you've created and impressed upon many people's minds, some of the better applicants, what the opportunities are out there. If you guys got any questions, any thoughts on recruiting to your agency, if you've got any concerns, anything at all like that regarding what's going on, how to explain it, how to tell people about the opportunity, you're welcome to leave a comment below. I'm happy to help in any way, shape, form possible. Recruiting has been wonderful for me. It's been great. And for those who are open-minded to it, who feel good about it, if you don't, that's fine. Recruiting is a wonderful business model. You get to help people grow, help people move through life and increase their knowledge and power and self-confidence. It's a really, really cool thing. And the money is very good too, of course, after you put enough effort and time into it. So if you want to learn more about joining my agency or even agency building through me, I do that as well. You can go to daviddufour.com, click Join Dave's Agency at the top to learn more about how my programs work, or just go to daviddufour.com/contact to reach out to me that way. Thank you for listening, y'all, and stay safe. See ya.